So my name is Allison Gerber, and I'm a program officer with the Annie E. Casey Foundation. The foundation is a national philanthropy dedicated to building brighter futures for America's children. And I contribute to that work through lots of thinking and funding, research and policies and programs related to, not surprisingly, given our topic today, employment. And so as I was thinking about what I might say to you today, I said to my significant other, I asked him what he would want to hear, at the end of a really nice presentation with lots of good data and good stories from young people and practitioners. And he said, well, I would want to know how I could be funded by the Annie E. Casey Foundation. And then he said, but that might not be what you would want to talk about. But it did help me think about a good way into what I'd want to say. And I would say that, so as a program officer, there's kind of two basic ways you start a conversation with a prospective grantee. And one is the kind of usual way that leads to a lot of strong work, and that's that I have a project idea, and that grantee has a great project, and you go on to fund it, and it's really... And then there's the other, more iffy way that you can get to a project, which is where the funder starts with, I have an idea. And they're iffy because, why would I substitute my judgment for the good judgment of all of the folks doing this work? And it leads to some spectacular failures, but in the case of this project, I think it led to some spectacular innovation. We said to Martha, we have this question at Casey, and it's something like, how can we find momentum points or experiences that are likely to help young people get on a pathway to a good job? How would we know? What could we support early in the pipeline? And she went away and she talked to Alan and she talked to the folks at Child Trends, and she came back and said, have you ever heard of this data set? And we said, no. Well, it might be able to inform this question, and it's kind of a boondoggle because it hasn't really ever been analyzed and these things haven't been done. And we thought, perfect, that's kind of where we belong with the messy stuff. And I think the results are actually really spectacular in a way that I just want to lift up. Some of them are the typical things that people probably expected to hear: high school completion, post-secondary credential. But some of them really are starting to create that evidence base for the common wisdom that we've been hearing from practitioners that really are around positive relationships with caring adults. How do we begin to put some structure around that? Around high-quality work-based learning, around teen employment. And I think that, although Farhana did a great job of kind of pointing out that the evidence base maybe doesn't reach those really rigorous standards, it's a beginning and it's an opening and it's a place where we can begin to support really good practice through evidence. And I think that that's really critical. And so I just want to say that, for Casey, I think what we would seek to do with this and what we're doing in our other work is to really understand what Martha lifted up about what is quality. What does good work-based learning look like? How do you define a strong mentoring relationship? What is high quality, what is early paid work experience that is more likely to help a young person get on that pathway to a quality job? And I would say, as a former public workforce administrator, I would like to see our public policymakers interrogate those questions, to push less towards one more slot for one more summer youth employment program, to push kids back less onto that same pathway that didn't work for them the first time, and to really do some of the things that I think this panel lifted up. What did Pat say? Blow up our traditional pathways. That's a great one. To rethink those funding models that Enid and Farhana and Pat pointed to that kind of support young people in a different way. Ultimately, I think what we want is more Cynthias, and I think we want more pathways for Cynthias that work for our young people and for folks to be successful. So, we're very pleased to have supported this work. It was really a privilege, and I thank Martha and I thank Alan and I thank the folks at Child Trends and Chris and Kelly for kind of going through this boondoggle with us. We know that data analysis wasn't fun, but I think it yielded some really important information that I know that we'll be acting on and that I hope others in this room are able to act on. So thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos from Brookings.